know there ain't no stopping us. Fly without a boarding pass. Couldn't catch me, I'll be moving fast. Call me a shooting star. Let 'em know who you are. Flying up in a bar. Wish on a star. Time to show 'em who's in charge. Call me a shooting star. Didn't even get to cross. I said I'm moving too far. Get to glass. Looking at a shooting star. Got more than a couple of people going mad. I swear they're rooting hard. Tell them I'd be big in the game like she went and got them breast implants. I said I'm moving too fast. Didn't even get a glance. I'm ready to eat up track like I'm seated in a restaurant. If you had swag like mine, you know it's best to flaunt. We are hating because you want. Shining like it's neon. Rock like kings of Leon. Shooting stars across the galaxy. I stand out, so don't be mad at me. Infiltrate, I'm with my strategy. When I turn up, then I just have to leave. Shooting stars across the galaxy. I stand out, so don't be mad at me. Infiltrate, I'm with my strategy. When I turn up, then I just have to leave. Yeah, shoot. Yeah, shoot. Yeah, shooting. Yeah, shooting shots. Shooting stars. Didn't even get to cross.
Hello everyone, welcome to Monday Night, the best place to be in town if you're a Spurs fan. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Please like, subscribe and comment during the show. If you're a regular, big up yourself. Welcome back. Always good to have you. We've got a great panel as always. There's loads to get into. The Harry Kane drama continues. It's never going to end, is it? Listen, let's just get straight into it. Let's go.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.
Hello. How you doing, people? Welcome. Monday night. It's the last show before the season officially starts. We've got one more game tomorrow, pre-season, Barcelona away. But better than Barcelona is Iggy, JP, Maz, and Lee. How you doing, everyone? Everyone good?
Good evening.
Evening,
good afternoon, morning, depending where you are in the world. Big up yourselves. Big up yourself, panel. Big up yourself, everyone in the chat. Hope you all had an awesome weekend. I certainly did. And yeah, let's get cracking, mate.
let's get it on.
Big up to everyone in the comments section. Quick hello to everyone. We've got Eugene, Alex, Tony, Ryan Isaacs. How you doing? Tin Legs. That's a new one. Nice to meet you. We've got Elias in the
I
house.
love some of these names.
Chris.
I love some of these.
Tin Legs Tony. Top man.
It's creative. We've got Graham in the building. SVA BG. We've got Lee, who's also on the panel. We've got William. John George, how are you doing? We've got J.O. We've got Barbaric. Dean. How you doing, my man? Dig the music. Yeah, Will Stewart did it. So props to Will Stewart. Language Angels. We've got JJ. We've got Jason. We've got Benjamin. DJ in the house. Johnny from Bethnal Green. Language Angels. Materio, how you doing? Sammy Mehmet, how you doing? How the kids? Mark Swifty. Paul Brown. 3SS Sports Picks. Big up to you as well. We've got 60 people in the building. Smash a like. Say hello. Comment during the show. I think there's a lot of channels going live tonight. So we'll see how we go. But we listen, we do what we do. We're the original Monday night crew. Big up to Edward Talks. Haysdale, big up. A ton right. Big up to you as well. So we had another friendly game yesterday. I wasn't there, but I managed to catch a few highlights. Iggy, you were outside protesting. JP, you were there with the kids. Let's look at the starting lineup, then we can talk about the game itself. Obviously, Spurs won the game 5-1. Harry Kane with 4 goals. Don't forget, people, Harry Kane can't play the Postecoglou system, of course. We'll talk about that as well. The starting lineup was pretty much similar to everything we've been used to. Ben Davies, though, starting centre back with Romero. Solomon came on, Skip came on, Lo Celso came on, and so did Dane Scarlett. Sanchez, Bissouma, Perisic, Dyer, Reggie, Porro, Austin. None of them got a run out. So we'll talk about that as well. Stats wise, 67% possession, 32 shots. I mean, these total shots we're having are through the roof compared to what we've been used to the last 4 years. On target 20, so that's 2 in every 3. Off target 5, blocked 7, passing accuracy 92%. That is phenomenal. Clear-cut chances only 4. So maybe the shots are more about us giving it a go as opposed to actually improving our creativity, because only 4 clear-cut chances, but we still scored 5. Corners 6-2, and tackles were pretty even. Aerial duels pretty even. So look, we dominated the game. We were the better team, deserved to win. What did you make of it, guys? We'll get into the players individually afterwards, but just as a game, what did you make of it? Let's go to Lee, because I haven't heard from Lee in ages.
I watched it live. I thought there were, again, lots of positives. I think there's still a lot of tweaking to do in terms of who fits in what formation and who fits in what position. Overall, thought it was entertaining. I'm still not hyped up yet until we start taking on some proper, Brentford, basically. See how that goes. I think it was the starting lineup that will start against Brentford. It will take a few that might not be there or will be there. But I thought Højbjerg had quite a good game, but I think you can see the difference between him and other people. But yeah, it was an entertaining, friendly game, really, wasn't it? Nothing to write home about apart from the score.
Yeah, I don't know what. I mean, what did you expect from the game, Lee, going into it? What, as a fan, what were you looking to take away from the game before it began?
I think he gave me what I expected a week before the Premier League starts. I think he kept it like a game in the sense of he didn't change everyone at half time. He brought the same team out. He put some subs on, stuff like that. I think he was almost using that as a template for the Brentford game, if I'm honest. Otherwise, there'd have been a lot more changes. So I think, and that's what I expected. I mean, you can't do that against the likes of Barcelona. It's just going to be an unrealistic sort of outcome. But I think he looked at Shakhtar Donetsk as probably one of those teams as a little bit more like some of the mid-table teams, lower table teams that you've got in the Premier League. So I think he's used it as almost like a benchmark for Brentford to see how the players will react.
Maz, going into the game, what were you looking to see? What were you hoping to see? And what did you see?
Wow. I was hoping for a good performance, and I think we got a good performance. I wouldn't say it was a fantastic performance, but we certainly created chances and we had lots of attempts on goal, which is good to see. The forward play was quite dynamic compared to what we're used to. I think in the past we were quite static when we were going forward, weren't we? Almost the forwards were waiting for things to happen. So there's a lot more movement up front, which is great. what my concerns in that game, two concerns. One, you covered, I think, earlier today still, where you said that one ball over the top and we're sort of done for, which I'm going to be honest with you, that's probably been Spurs for the last 30 years. That's always been our Achilles heel, if I'm honest, regardless of the defenders. But we're even more so pro now. And I wasn't a fan of the inverted fullbacks either, where they were coming more central. I just thought we looked really narrow and compact, and against better opposition where they're going to be pressing us and hounding us, I'm not sure we've got those quality defenders to be able to pass it out from the back under pressure. It's fine now where we're playing lesser opposition, but with a Brentford or an Arsenal or the bigger teams, I'm not sure how we'll cope with that system. It makes us really narrow at the back.
I noticed that as well, Maz, and do you know what? It's the first time everyone kept talking about these inverted fullbacks, etc., and that's the first match where I actually saw them. I thought straight away, wow, it's almost like they're playing like a 2-2-1, where they're playing literally in front of the centre backs, and I think the problem with it is that where teams just sit back, which most of the teams that we've played so far do, it doesn't really show that effectively enough. Because if you're using those to sort of play around the triangles around the middle and progress it forward, if they're just sitting back behind the ball, it doesn't really show that. So it was interesting to see. I just don't know if it's as effective as it could be.
Yeah, I mean, the obvious exploit from that system, from my point of view, is that the more experienced teams will have fast wingers going down the flanks, right? That's where the space is, and we don't have pace in our defensive line really. Maybe Udogie's got more pace out of all of them currently that I can see. So that ball over the top or that ball to the flanks where they can potentially split us open, I think it's going to be a real problem for us. I think we're going to see that a lot this season if we don't, if Van der Ven or if we do get a Tapsoba, they're really the only defenders that will guard against that. I mean, certainly Royale and whoever is left back probably isn't going to be good enough to counter something like that. But I'm sure Stel will let us know his thoughts on that type of system.
That's it. Put it on me.
Choose Stel.
The only thing, one comment that I would make, what you did notice though, is when they were inverted just in front of the defenders, you tend to find that then, like I saw this happening quite a lot, as Sarr was being pulled right out on the right or the left.
Yeah,
but then to me that's making a gap in the middle. So I think they need to learn a lot more how to play that system before it becomes effective, because people were naturally just filling in the gaps where those guys would usually be on the byline, sorry, on the wings or out on the lines where they weren't. They were so inverted that it left so much space that they had to sort of fill that gap in.
Yeah. What confused me as well in the system is Maddison was floating really to the all over the place, and so was Sarr. And I was thinking, well, where's the playmaker effectively dictating where the ball's going? I couldn't. Maybe this is my tactical naivety, but I couldn't see that sort of Modric, that Dembele type figure that's going to control the ball and dictate the play and move it around. I thought Maddison was going to be that, and I'm not sure my expectations are correct on that one.
Let me get JP involved. Quick super chat though first from Donna Cullen. Big up, Donna. We do love you as part of our channel. Mr. Lee, have you received your mug from Stelios? Iggy is sorting out the mugs.
I got it. Believe it or not, I got it this weekend. I'm going to take the lads' addresses. Get them posted over to you guys.
See how Donna holds us to account. Like, this isn't the boardroom. Just so you know, this isn't the boardroom. But
yeah, she's a member now. Still, Donna's a member now. We got to take her seriously.
Part of the board. JP, you're at the game. How did you find it?
Well, no, I wasn't, but I kind of did the watch along, which obviously you didn't watch.
Who took the videos from inside the stadium?
I had someone, a mate of mine was there, and he sent me over.
Proper Italian.
Friend
I
of
had
a
someone
friend.
on the job. I had
I
someone
had
on the
Friend of a
job.
someone there.
friend.
So a mate
Had a
of mine,
lookout.
Mazza, big up
Out-
Maz. You know Mazza
Outsource
still.
that.
Mazza,
Yeah,
Mazza
yeah.
was there. One of my mates, Mazza, was there with his daughters, and he
Yeah.
took a whole load of clips,
Big
and
up,
he
Maz.
sent them.
Big up,
He
Maz.
sent them
I just
over to
assumed it was
me.
JP. Sorry, I thought it was JP.
No.
I
Sent
bet it
them
was
over to
outsourced.
me, and I'm just laughing
Outsourced,
at one of
yeah.
the comments actually from, was it Beyond 72? So he filmed the video about the queue outside the store after he got his polo shirt. So this polo shirt is about 2-3 seasons ago, and there's absolutely not
Stelios from the
on
club
your
payroll.
lane, not in a million years would I queue up in a queue that went as far as the number 8 pub just
That
to
was
get
big,
into a
man.
shop. I wouldn't queue up for any shop that had a queue that long. let alone a
That's
Spurs
big,
shop.
man.
So
That's big.
no, not a chance in hell I would have got it there. So yeah, sorry
Big
to
up, Ryan.
disappoint Beyond.
Yeah, so I did the watch along, with Will, Elias, and Eugene. But kind of to me, it was kind of almost a game of two halves, to be honest, because I didn't think we were quite bitty in that first half, as it were. Do you know what I mean? They didn't seem as fluid, kind of as I would have liked to see them. Kane kept dropping too deep, and it looked like one of their tactics was literally to get it to Son, who played quite wide. He almost hugged that touchline sometimes, and it seemed like we gave Son the ball, who would just look up, cross the ball in, and because Kane was too deep, there was literally no one in a kind of like a box for it. The second half perked up a bit, and I think from my understanding, because we were a bit late coming out, I think Ange had a bit of a blast at them. And it was totally different in the second half. Like you saw Kane literally stay in the positions that I guess Ange wants him to be, which is up front, kind of like in between the two centre halves, and like he bagged 4 goals out of it. Secret, I took videos for Mr. Riggy.
Yeah, Donna Cullen,
Um,
super chat. Thank you. Apparently, she's taking videos.
I didn't want to give the secret away, Donna, but I guess you did that all by yourself. What can I do? I was
Secrets out the bag.
trying to
Donna,
preserve you a little, yeah. Let the cat out of the bag now, Donna.
Yeah.
I thought Udogie was quite good. He seemed energetic up and down that line. Maddison, I thought, kind of like played well in the second half. As I say, a lot of them to me played a lot better in the second half. Kulu was frustrating. I think kind of, his crosses weren't quite there. His shots were quite low, weak. It's almost like he wasn't connecting kind of like with them properly. And in the first half, Kane was annoying me a little bit, kind of like the fact that he kept kind of like dropping deep and staying away. But overall, I think kind of like they built up towards the end, and like Maz mentioned it, and I think you mentioned it as well, right? I think the biggest thing was that like one ball over the top and bang, that was it, kind of thing. Like they were through. They weren't that great, to be honest. So I think we put them to the sword towards the end. I was pleased for Dane Scarlett actually, because he took his goal really, really well. And I think one thing we noticed in that watch along was as soon as Dane Scarlett came on, he stayed literally in the middle of those two centre backs. He literally stayed there and took his goal fantastically. So I'm well chuffed for him.
Yeah, that was a really good goal by Dane Scott, actually. Really, really good. Thank you, Dunsandorf, for becoming a channel member. People that are saying I'm as bad as Chris Cowlin, you all need to get off the drugs you're taking. I just don't get it. Iggy, what did you make of the game? I mean, in fact, what was the atmosphere like outside the stadium? What was the build-up like? I know the protest was like 5-6 people. It was never, ever going to get the traction on Family Day. But tell us a bit about the protest and then tell us a bit about the atmosphere building up to the game.
Well, the protest, you covered it quite well. I think with the Trust's announcement, I think it's going to be a lot more happening for the Man United game. So that's regarding that. In merit of the atmosphere, it felt like, honestly, it felt like I was actually just standing by Oxford Street on a high street of a shopping.
Wow.
It was busy. It was a busy high road, busy high street, but there was no
Manu.
the whole time that I
Manu.
was there, and I was there from 2 p.m. The kickoff was at 2 p.m. I was there from 10:45, I'll say, from right up to about sort of 1ish before I went home. I was there till about 1:30, and the atmosphere was just. It was like a summer's day out in Oxford Street, Leicester Square, busy roads, but very everyone along the way. You saw the queues. I put a video up of the queues outside the shop. That was
That's
super
a
busy,
joke, man. That's
super
a
busy,
joke.
and that was
Okay.
like that from early. That was early from the moment I got there, and it was 11:15. I said it. I said it in the videos I put up. By 10:45, I got there about 10:30 ish, and the roads were busy. You couldn't get parking anywhere near within a 2 mile radius of the stadium, and there's no way I was walking more than 2 miles. So there was there was absolutely and it's just a busy. But do you know what? It is what it is. I had said what I had to say on the videos that I made on the day in merit to all of that. And but what I will say about the game is Kane that doesn't fit and Postecoglou's system is laughable. The guy is a world class striker, and world class strikers play in any system, defensive, attacking, whatever you want. They're there to score goals, and the amount of opportunities that Spurs created in that game was something like 15, 20 chances in that game, especially in the second. I think there was more chances in the first half than there was second, but we was just more clinical in the second half. So strikers are there to score goals, and he certainly did that. And that's the frustrating part, that the way we tend to go forward and tend to attack and tend to deliver as many chances as we do. A striker like him will score. I said it in this morning's video as well. A striker like him will score two, 3 goals. Certainly, will be in a situation where he can score 2, 3 goals a game.
Opportunities to score that.
Yeah, opportunity. And I think away from home, we've got 8 games. First 8 games we play away from home 5 times. And if the honours are on the home team to attack us, we could have a lot of opportunities to hurt them in the other way. And I think we can do really well, providing we keep Kane. Obviously, I know much we're going to be discussing that in this stream. But the team, I wanted to say this as a team going forwards. We attack in numbers. It's good to see the fluidity from the midfield that join the attacks. Whether before it would just be Kulusevski, Kane, and Son to do their own thing, and the midfield would just be so worried about protecting our defence that they wouldn't even dare to cross a certain meterage of the pitch to join the attack. I did speak to. I was saying to you guys, I spoke to Mazza, who gave me the videos. I had a little chat with him about it, and he was close. One half, he was more closer to Son's side, and he said he thought Son had a good game, but he did say that he was hearing Ange Postecoglou saying to him to stay wide, take on the man rather than cut in. He was saying to him, stop cutting in. Didn't want him to do it as much. He wanted him to stay out wide and take on the man and go on. But I think more so work
that
more
was
so
evident.
the outside.
That was evident.
Yeah, work more so the outside. But that wasn't. That was just Postecoglou shouting an instruction. It's not to say that Son was playing bad. I don't know where this idea that Son played terrible.
I
He
didn't.
should
he
have.
didn't play
We should have
terrible at all.
Solomon. I mean, I
I
don't want to get
honestly
too
didn't
much
think
into
that.
Son here. I just think there's too many driven agendas between Son and it's almost like Messi or Ronaldo. And the same thing at Spurs for Spurs fans, it's either Sonny versus Kane. If you like Kane, you can't like Son and vice versa. I don't think that's the case. I think we should enjoy the fact that these two players are the best tandem in my opinion, in Premier League football. As in the amount of goals and assists that they've had for each other. I think they can be a really formidable partnership still moving forward if they stay together. Defensively, listen, we are always going to have those issues of balls over the top because defensively I haven't changed too much. Van der Ven, the only thing I can see with Van der Ven coming in that we probably won't be caught as much with pace. He's not going to resolve the issues, but he can certainly sort one or two issues out there regarding having pace at the back. And I think the goalkeeper as well will play a massive part, because the goalkeeper is going to be, he's not a touchline goalkeeper. He's going to be more towards the edge of the box. He's got to be ready for them sort of counter balls over the top, and he has to be participant in covering as well. So, and I think once he grows in a bit of confidence, I think we hopefully, I'm not saying we're going to resolve it all, but we might limit the amount of those sort of opportunities that oppositions will get. And obviously, we're playing Brentford first game of the season, so we know what kind of problems we encountered last season at home against them, especially in that their right side, our left side. So I really do hope that we get our wits about it for this game. Barcelona tomorrow. It's another, that would be a good test. It's away from home, so it kind of sees how it will show how we set up. I know we'll make changes, obviously, given that we played only yesterday, but we will see what we how we set up away from home. Again, clearly better than us. Barcelona are a very good side.
It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting
we
to
approach
see
that game.
possession-wise, possession-wise, because they'll have a lot of possession, right?
I do, JP. I said it in this morning's video. I'll say it again for those who missed it. Go and watch it. I enjoyed the way we played. I enjoyed what we tried to do. I enjoyed watching Maddison, who looks like a player that's been there more than just a few games. It looks like he's getting himself involved. He's building an understanding with Kane as well. Long that may continue. But I'm enjoying the mindset of what we're trying to do. I know Ange Postecoglou said that, at the moment they're doing the things that I'm telling them to do, but they need to start believing in what it is that he's trying to do. And that will take time, but we will get there. If we as fans can be patient with this team, we will get there. And I'll keep, another thing I will say this before I forget is I will keep as many of the young players together as possible. The players like Scarlett, and I would have him involved in the squad, because if we are going to move into the new direction, we need these boys to come into the side, embed what Postecoglou is trying to do, and use that young.
Blooded in.
Yeah,
and they'll listen at you, right?
Yeah,
they'll listen and they'll take it on board and try and execute that.
Absolutely, and we need to have those players like the experience. Of course, we need the experience, but I think the more these young players we have, the better it is of us that we get moving forward. I won't criticise the team. I won't criticise from what I saw yesterday, because we battered them 5-1. We dominated, even more so in the second half. So what is there to criticise? We've done what we had to do. Shakhtar Donetsk wasn't the most formidable position I've ever seen. Of course they weren't. But you can only play what's in front of you. And I thought for a first game at Tottenham Hotspur, in front of our new fans, in our home, for players who have played there, some of them players have played there for the first time, I thought they did really well, man. And sure, we've got things to improve on, but we've done well.
I think the intensity was the more impressive thing, considering it's a pre-season. Normally, typical pre-season games are sort of slow and lethargic, aren't they? But
that was our third game, man. That was our third game.
Yeah, and it was quite good intensity for a pre-season. In fact, I was sort of a little bit annoyed that of some of the tackles that we were putting in was a little bit harsh, I thought, for a friendly. There's a couple of occasions we got booked, and I was thinking, what's the point? I mean, it's good to show hunger and it's good to try and win the ball, of course. But then when some of those tackles are a bit lazy and a bit silly, you think, well, what's the point of getting booking for it?
Would you, if Kane did go, if Kane did, I know we only saw him for 5 minutes, but and the amount of love that we give for Pigeon Boy, if Kane goes, would you start Scarlett ahead of Richie?
Lee, let me come on to that just a minute, because
you just stole my thunder. All right.
Yeah, no. Do you know what? Well, listen. We can move on to it now. We can move on to it now. Just very quickly, just want to do a couple of quick things. First of all, Donald Cullen, thank you again for another super chat. Mr. JP, she has a seat next to you, ready for the next game. The last game we didn't show up, so
I know, and I don't know if that was Daniel's seat, because he's over in Miami, right?
Yeah, so she probably gave you Daniel's seat. DJ Marcus Anthony, 100%. You can come on the watch along for Spurs Arsenal. Absolutely, there's no doubt in you being allowed to come on. Also, anyone else in the chat tonight that wants to stir up any more hate between myself and other YouTubers, I'm not even warning you tonight. I'm not even saying don't do it. I'm going straight to ban. I've banned 3 already. Don't get yourself banned, guys, by trying to stir up hate. Questions, opinions, yes, but hate, I'm just going to ban because the older I get, the less patience I've got for it. So there you go.
We're here to talk about Spurs. That's it. We're not interested in any other conversations other than our club and the Premier
It's
League
a straight ban. It's just a ban. It's just a ban.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
whatever.
just
Do you know what it is? I don't want to give it any more time. I'm done.
okay, let's
The
move
game
on.
itself for me, because I wanted to reply to something Maz said about the inverted wingbacks. The inverted wingback system works well, but only if the players around the inverted wingbacks know what to do. So where you got two at the back, then the inverts come in. Where the weakness then exposes itself is out wide, obviously. So what then needs to happen is either the wingback goes out wide to cover, and then only one wingback stays in the middle, or the centre back goes out wide, and then the inverted wingback drops into the centre back role, or you have a number 6 that just works sideways and clears up. Me, the way we play, I don't think it makes sense to play with a number 6 that goes left and right, because then you've got 2 inverted wingbacks and 2 centre backs plus a keeper could be a sweeper. That's already 5. Do you want another player to get back just to stop a counter attack? So I think pulling a centre back out of position, I think, is a bad idea, because if a cross comes in the box, although we're rubbish at it, you'd rather a centre back dealing with it than what we saw on the weekend. Ben Davies, 5'10", he didn't know what was going on. So I'd rather the wing backs learn to push out wide from the inverted position. That's the way I would do it. But then you need wing backs that have got 2 skills: 1, pace; 2, good at tackling. And this is where I criticise all the wing backs. None of them have got both.
And the fact that none of our defenders can header the ball. I mean, even Romero's not that great aerially. So you got Ben Davies, who can't header, Romero, who's personally I don't think is that very good in the air. Then what do we do then?
Well, see, so all right, before we go on to Harry Kane, let's do this and let's cover this, right? So Lee, we will come back to Harry Kane, I promise you, because this is probably the biggest conversation of the night, right? You just went early. I was shocked. I was shocked from yesterday. Listen, it's a weekly thing, but that's a different show, Iggy. I was surprised yesterday that we won a game 5-1. The football's looking better. Yeah, it's not where it needs to be, but clearly the manager is going to need 3 to 6 months to really bed in a philosophy. And you're not going to see the rewards until 9 to 12 months. You'll begin to say, right, this is actually really, really exciting now. And that's also dependent on what players we sign. Your system's only as good as the players there to execute it. So I think it's really, really early still in let's call it the process. But I'm encouraged by what I see. I just couldn't understand how yesterday the criticism certain individuals were getting, because one thing I was taught when coaching, never coach success. Even if your team plays rubbish, but you walk away with a 3-0 win, you've got to leave it on a positive. It's got to be a positive. You've got to use that momentum and that confidence and then build. You can see what's wrong. Like, we can all see which players might be struggling a bit or which players just can't defend. We get it. But the amount of hate, the hate I heard yesterday towards Son, the hate towards Kulu, Skip, I'm thinking, Jesus Christ, man. You're the same fans who hate Skip, hate Son, hate Kulu, are the same fans who hate Lo Celso, who are now kissing his ass because he's had 3 good games. It's like, it's a flip-flop. Which way does the wind blow? YouTube, podcast, Facebook world that we live in. I just thought, you've won 5-1. And what you want to pick out of that is that Son played badly and Kulu isn't good and Skip's average. And I just felt, are you ever fucking happy? Really? Like, I get told you're always miserable. And I like to say, no. I believe I say what I see. 5-1 means we played well. Harry Kane scoring 4 goals means he can play a Postecoglou system. Dominating possession means we're now a possession-based team, because that's the 3rd game in a row we've done that. Playing 2-touch, 3-touch football is far more enjoyable than long ball counter-attack football, in my opinion. I see a lot of positives at the moment.
Yeah.
So when we come off the game, and all I hear is, Maz, Son this, skip that, Kulu that. Even I begin to get frustrated hearing it. I get the criticism on the defense, because I even said the other day when I did my Van der Ven player analysis, I don't know how he fixes our problems. He fits in Postecoglou's system, composed at the back, not losing possession in dangerous areas, carrying the ball, having the ability to beat a man, which Son and Solomon can do. There's so many good qualities about Van der Ven that make sense that he plays in a Postecoglou system. But does he fix the problem we can't defend in the air at the back? No, he doesn't. He's awful in the air. His aerial ability is really poor at the moment. The only spin I put on it to leave it on a good note was he's young enough to be coached still. He can still be coached.
Yeah.
But when you spend £50 million and you don't actually fix the problem we've got, I don't know. Like, what do you guys make of it? This whole criticism.
It depends on the problem he's trying to fix, though, right? Because we've obviously identified the problem, and Ange might have identified obviously different problems.
He knows, Maz. He must know.
Absolutely,
he must know.
Of course. And when we talked offline, Stel, when we said, well, potentially with Van der Ven's attributes, that he could probably push up with his ability to be a number 6, and that may become evident come when some of our players go to the the African Nations or whatever it's called.
African Nations Cup.
Yeah, in the new year. So I'm quite positive about VDV. Well, I'm not going to profess I'm an expert. I've seen a couple of games of his, actually, funnily enough. But
he's a good player, Maz. He's a good player.
Yeah, it looks a promising player,
he can't
he's young.
Headers. He can't defend headers, and that's where we concede all our goals from. So I'm thinking, you don't actually fix our problem, but you're good for the team. How does that make sense? How do you make sense of what I've said?
Yeah, but I agree with you. But you also said if you compare him to Davis, Dyer, Sanchez, Tanganga all day long, he would get in, right? So from that perspective, he's uplifting the team or uplifting the baseline of the team. In regards to the negativity around the pre-season and the friendly, I agree with you. I mean,
look at this. No Perisic, no Conte terrorist football. What's Son going to hide behind now?
It's a friendly.
That's what you tweet after a 5-1 win. You win 5-1, and that's what goes through your head. I'm just thinking,
it's nuts. Yeah. And it's a friendly, right? And it's a friendly, and we don't know where Son is in terms of his rehabilitation back from injury and his fitness level. I personally don't think he played bad. I don't think he was the sharpest he's ever been. He does look a little like half a yard potentially off the pace still, in terms of his acceleration. Sorry, Igor.
I was just saying, sorry guys. It was the third game that we've had an awful 3 seasons. The third we just completed our third game, and he's coming back from a hernia, whatever injury he had. So he's trying to find
all of
his
last
best
season,
form.
wasn't it?
I just think that this man. Sorry to cut in as I did, but all I was trying to say regarding Sonny, and you carry on, mate. It's just I feel like this isn't just a one-off game. This is just people like they have just got it in for him, man. They have got it in from last season's performances. Even though he's explained to us what happened, he didn't reveal it to us because that's the kind of I go beyond the player, man. I look at the man himself, and he played with a injury, man. And those of you who suffered with hernia,
through the pain,
and he knew that it wasn't probably the best thing for him, but he knew there was so many points of the season where he probably should have taken time out, and he just couldn't because we was heavily relying on him, and he played through that. And now that he's got himself sorted out this summer, he needs that time to get back into it. He needs to now understand the new manager, what he's asking of him, what he wants him to. Doesn't want him to cut in as much. He wants him to work the outside and take the man on. And he needs to get into the program. That's fine. Was it yesterday's best performance? No. But was it as bad as people trying to make out for him? No. But it's agenda-driven. The same way those agenda-driven people are trying to say that we're all right with that, Kane. If he goes, we'll be all right. Because they've got it in their heads that they're so butthurt about potentially him going, that they've got it into their head. That's actually not a bad idea, letting him go. He's 31, doesn't fit the system, scores 4 goals yesterday in that system. But we're all right. So I just think people have made up their minds about certain players in our squad and are just not going to change it. And that's absolutely fine.
Yeah,
But
and they're
you've
just
got to read
feeding
through
off
the
the
bullshit, though,
narrative.
man.
Yeah, they're just feeding off the narratives of the other YouTube channels and what agendas they have, right? And I'll finish on these 2 points. On Kulu, it wasn't his absolute best performance, his pre-season, but the positive argue from that is at least he tried. At least he tried to make something happen. At least he kept running and he didn't stop, and he was constantly attacking, the fullbacks and the defenders, and that's great. He doesn't give up. He doesn't. His head doesn't drop when he fails 1 or 2 times or 3 or a dozen times. He comes out in the second half and he shows what he can do. And with Son, as we said, right, he's coming back from an injury. It's the 3rd game in on pre-season. He's probably got a level of fitness he needs to get to before the start of the season happens, and is by no means his worst performance. So overall, I think there was, it was a decent game, about where I think we should be, in this point of the season, and you can see the positives of the Postecoglou system, in effect.
I just don't get how a team wins 5-1 with Kulu, Skip, and and Son part of that 11 that wins, and we want to go in on players that didn't play well, yet they were part of the team that won 5-1. I can't get my head around it. That's the bit. If we, like the West Ham game, when we lost, was it 3-2? When we lost 3-2 to West Ham, I totally understand people having to dig out players. Like I dug out Richie that day. I dug him out. I said, how many chances does this guy want to miss? Like this, he can't hit a barn door, this guy. He's a joke. But we lost. Imagine I said that when we won 3-0.
Yeah.
I think with Kulusevski, the way he plays on the right-hand side, I think his game heavily is... I would also say that at the right back, plays behind him, plays a massive part on the outside. If you look at that goal, for example, that Man City scored against Arsenal, where Palmer was waiting for that opportunity to do what he did. But the reason why, although Tierney slipped, if you saw Carl Walker actually went on the outside, he never got the ball, but he kind of left the left back with the hesitancy whether he had to go out or whether to stay on Palmer, and that moment gave the opening for Palmer to get his shot in. I think the player that works the outside that for Spurs, the right back, and it looks like at the moment Emerson's got the nod ahead of Porro. If defensively, it probably makes more sense if you've got an attacking left back, which we do in the Dodgy. But for me, that right hand side, I think the right back with Kulu using the inside to get his shot on, and perhaps a crossing. Whoever plays on the outside needs to bomb forward, even if he doesn't get the ball. He needs to offer the option. At the moment, Emerson, right this moment, perhaps is not quite there, but perhaps it can get there. But if you say, like you said, if we're moving in with these inverted fullbacks, I don't know how that works.
Yeah,
for
it's not going to happen, really, is it? Yeah.
So I'm not too sure. So we may need to look at other solutions and maybe look at Kulu to play, or maybe more inside, alongside Maddison or for Maddison in certain games. The options are there.
Do you think, Lee, what do you reckon about this, right? I said this morning that we should really wait after 10 Premier League games before we really begin to judge.
Always.
Do you think that's fair? Because after 10 games, when you look at our starting 10, I think I've got the list here somewhere. I'm sure I do. Here it is. Yeah. So it's really small. We've got Brentford, United, Bournemouth, Burnley, Sheffield United, Arsenal, Liverpool. That's 7. Luton, Fulham, Palace. So after 10 games, we would have played Man United, Arsenal, and Liverpool, and we would have had London derbies: Palace, Fulham, Arsenal, and Brentford. So 4 London derbies and 3 of the big 6. Do you think after 10 games is a fair moment to assess? Although a lot of those games are away. 5 of the first 8 are away.
Personally, I think it'll be slightly longer than that, to be fair. And the reason for me saying that is you also got to wait and see what happens in the transfer window, right? Because that runs up to the end of August.
Yeah, true.
Which obviously eats into the season. So, we're famous for last week, last day kind of like deals and things like that. So it's kind of also depending on who comes in and time for them to be able to kind of like bed in slightly, right? So you could say format wise, style wise, yes, after 10 games, but it also depends on the personnel that we could also add into that squad, right?
Yeah,
Because
absolutely. And I don't
You got me.
think, I mean,
Go on.
you know, we've got the likes of Van der Ven coming in, etc. But I don't think he's going to be anywhere, shape or form ready for Brentford. So I don't think we'll be seeing him starting at Brentford unless And really knows how bad it is and it can't get any worse. If he chucks him in his first game, then I don't think you'll see him start for Brentford. It's
Yeah, probably not.
too close.
Too early.
I think I know a lot of people have been like, oh my god, we've got like a hard run, you know, we've got United, etc., and all this kind of stuff. But I think that's going to give us a much better understanding of how this team's going to be after 10 games, because you've
It's a
got
good measuring
lower
stick, right?
level,
Yeah.
you've got higher level
Yeah.
clubs, home and away, etc. And I think I'd be more interested, because I think we know how we're going to play at home, right? It's going to be on the front foot. It's going to be pressurised. It'll be good to see what he does at some of the bigger teams away, because you either reject your ethos and go back to doing something else, or you just say it doesn't matter where you're home or away. We play how we play. Our system is our system when we stick to it. Because I'm more interested to see how we play this system against a team that is attacking as much as us. Because I think the opportunities are on the counter. We've always been known as a counter-attacking team, and I think those opportunities are still there. And I think that's where Son will shine when he gets those opportunities. Because at the moment, any winger, you put 10 players behind the ball and you've got wingers, you've got so many people to try and get past. It's hard. It's hard for any teams. But, you know, you've got those teams that are just another level that can break people down. We don't seem to be able to break people down as much. We're getting there, you know, with the likes of Maddison, just, you know, like he's balled in for Kane. That's a typical Postecoglou way of playing, is getting those crosses in from the edge of the box for the strikers, and it worked perfectly. That's a perfect example of a goal for his system. But I'm more interested to see how we play against teams that are set up not the same as us, but are attacking as much as we are, because I think that's where the opportunities are going to be.
Does Postecoglou come across to you at all like a man who is what people criticise Conte for, which is stubborn in system? Does Postecoglou come across like a guy that will change up the style to suit your position, or does he come across like a guy, no, this is how we play and we're going to do it every game?
I don't. Do you know what? I'm not sure. I really don't know. We've had 3 games where pretty much even the West Ham game, they've basically just sat back and we've pressured them most of the time. We've changed the teams on 2 of those games at half time. So this really was the first match where we could see potential of what a match would be like, although they just sat back most of the time anyway. So he didn't really change much this Sunday, and he just kept battering until we got to the point where we scored, and then we continued to score in the second half once we'd sort of, you know, got a little disjointed in the first half, but in the second half it came a little bit better. But I can't judge, honestly. I can't judge what any of the Premier League games, first 3 games, are going to turn out like this. So it will be telling. One thing I've noticed about him though, which is in the press conferences, is that he struggles to make eye contact with people, doesn't he? He's very much he looks up for the question, and then the rest of the answer is like this. And he just doesn't look up until the next question. It's
yeah.
I don't know. We'll have to see if he can adapt. He can adapt.
You're gone.
No. For me, he could. It's probably his way, because it's probably his way to think about what is actually being asked of it. And if you look at, I don't know if you've ever been into a press conference, man. There's like fucking hundreds of it. Like it could be up to 50 to 100 people in front of you. So to actually have eye contact with a person that's asking, first of all, sometimes they're doing this to try and work out where the questions come from, unless that someone's announced it. But sometimes you just take a moment just to digest what's been asked of you and before answering it. But look, listen, Postecoglou, man, he comes across. I like
He's
him.
infectious, isn't he?
He's got an aura about him, and I reckon he knows exactly what he wants. He's not going in. If you heard him yesterday after the post-match presser, he's not going in too hard yet because he's still trying to get things in order. But I reckon in a year or two, man, if he's still about, obviously, and then it's more of his team, I reckon he's going to be more forthcoming in what exactly he wants. And another thing he's made very clearly, he said there was two players inbound. Now, I don't know if he meant Van der Ven and obviously Veliz, or if he meant someone else, but also did make it very clear that there's going to be players leaving this summer. So we need to trim that squad, man. 34, 35 players with players still incoming, and I don't know anyone that's actually leaving, guys. I don't know if you guys have heard anything, but I haven't heard anyone that's been.
Well, Jed Spence has been put on the transfer market today with Joe Rodon.
But
what disaster that was.
Sanchez,
which is a bit of a shame, that is, I think.
Well, is it, JP? Is it a shame? Because some of us who got nothing but abuse for defending Conte, one of the things we did say was, these aren't Conte's players, some of them. Jed Spence is a club signing. The club made the signing. And now that Postecoglou's come in, who's meant to work with youngsters and develop them, it could just be...
Which is totally the opposite, isn't it, now? Now we've got a manager who can work with youngsters.
They're all young. But Emerson Royale's young. Porro's young. They're all young.
And the thing is, as well,
two players for each position.
You can later leave his door because it's another thing he's got wrong. If he was pushing for this signing, which he personally intervened in that signing, didn't he, to get that over the line? Why? No one wanted him.
So then now, 6 months, half a season later, get rid. Put him on the transfer list.
But Jed Spence, because of the hate towards Conte, people forget the disaster surrounding the Spence signing. Spence was the only player we signed under Conte, the only one where he publicly came out and said it's a club signing, it's their investment. He never said that about anyone else. He kind of went along with it. But with Spence, he deliberately made it clear, this is not me. But everyone forgets that. And now everyone's, why is Spence leaving? Because who wanted him? This was a vanity project by Levy, some kind of, I've got the next big England sensation. But there's, I don't know, you tell me. Why does Postecoglou not want him? If he's that good, surely he'd keep him. He's given Gio a second chance. He's given Gio a second chance.
Yeah, but we are overloaded at right back. We got Spence, we got Emerson, we got Porro. We've got too many, and when someone needs to go, man. At the end of the day, Porro's just signed, and he clearly is going to be part of it. I mean, Emerson's is clearly very much part of this squad. So, what are you going to do with a third and fourth right back? He's not going to play.
That's only 3 though, right, Iggy?
Yeah, but what are you going to do with 3 right backs?
We don't have European football either.
We don't have no Europe. We've got one game a week. He's not going to get any game time. Perhaps maybe get him out on loan might have been the solution.
One of them gets injured.
But at the end of the day, I reckon some of these players are going to be going out on loan. I don't think we're going to get rid of all these players. Have you seen the amount of centre backs we got? Have you seen we just signed another one, and we're looking to get.
I don't think we call them.
We got Ashley Phillips in. We got Mickey Van der Ven in. I don't know if we're going to have another centre back. But have you seen already how many we actually have in the squad? We need to start trimming the squad down because you can't go into the season with 35.
We'll have Clement Longley after the Barca game. That'll be wrapped up.
Apparently, there's talks going to happen. There's talks going to happen after the Barca game.
Yeah, but again, that's just, for me, that's not actually tackling the issue. For me, it's just almost as if you're trying to fill in a gap that's
just adding another Spence, isn't it?
Listen, as long as Ndombele doesn't go, I don't care.
That's absolutely fine, man. Listen. If you or anyone else as Ndombele believe that he's going to achieve what he's going to achieve in his squad, by all means, I'm not. Listen, I know what you're doing, but it's absolutely fine. So far, Ndombele has not played a single minute of any preseason game.
Back to your centre back issue before this railroad.
And yet another manager is going to put him up on transfer list. Let that sink in, man.
We've got Romero 1, Dyer 2, Sanchez 3, Rodon 4, Tanganga 5, Van der Ven 6,
It's a joke.
Ashley
Look at that.
Phillips 7, and then you've got youngsters if you're going to bring through academy players in Donington and Sawyers. Plus, we're looking to sign one. We are far too stacked centre backs. Far too stacked.
Ridiculous.
You can have a team of centre backs.
You could almost have a starting 11 of centre backs. Let's get on to Harry Kane. Because
That'd be like Conte's dream, wouldn't it?
the Mourinho dream machine.
Mourinho, small Mourinho, isn't it?
Mourinho dream machine. All right, so look, let's get down to it. We did a long show on Friday night. I thought for sure it was going to be done by the weekend. It hasn't been done. Harry Kane, stay
apparently
or
there's an
go.
announcement tonight at 11 o'clock.
I'm not doing another breaking news. I'm breaking news done. I'm breaking news.
I'm just saying.
I know, but
I
normally do one though when there's
Was
an
that
announcement. So.
was that a picture of Levy from Miami?
Yeah, with Joe Lewis. Well, look, today, Harry Kane, Bayern Munich have rejected. Spurs have rejected Bayern Munich's final bid. It goes on to say negotiations are still ongoing, however, and Tottenham are testing Bayern's resolve even further. However, having said all this, okay, so this deadline actually wasn't a deadline anymore. I thought it really was, but clearly not. Spurs have rejected Bayern's bid. Bayern apparently having a meeting tonight, the directors, to decide what they want to do, the board of directors at Bayern. Iggy's saying there's an announcement tonight. We don't know if it's Daniel Levy sending us holiday pictures or whether it's more about Harry Kane. But the thing is, Harry Kane has said if he starts for Brentford, then he's playing for Spurs this season. So we're now at that place of I've actually run a poll. I literally did a poll. And the question was, should we sell Kane or let him go on a free next year? I did the poll 10 minutes ago. 115 of you have answered. And so far, 67% say sell now. 33% say go on a free. So, Lee, there's a lot of ramifications here. First of all, if you're going to believe Harry Kane, then this has to get done in the next 6 days. If we're going to sell Harry Kane, then we've bought in Veliz. We're probably going to need another striker because, let's be honest, at 1-1, it's Harry Kane that made it 5-1. Did we look like scoring without Harry Kane? I don't know. I never saw the game. You guys can tell me. And also, if Kane does go, that surely now means that Postecoglou's got to pick a starting striker on a regular basis. Will that be Richarlison? Will it be the new kid, Dane Scarlett? It's only pre-season. We can't make too much of it, but it was a banging goal. What is there scope to say that he now needs to be more of a regular in the first team? Lee, you brought up the question. We don't know if he's going. I'm still convinced he'll go because I just don't see how Spurs risk £100 million. I think he will go, but it's now looking like it's swung the other way that Kane might actually stay. Where are you with it? And how many more shows are we going to do about Harry Kane?
Well, at least whatever is being done until at least Sunday, right? Do you know what? I don't know. I'd like to get in the mind of Daniel Levy to understand what on earth is going on. If he is now sticking to his guns and saying £100 million is it, that's what I want. If you don't come up with that, then it's simple. He's playing a very, very risky game, as you say, to let him go. I still think this is just pure madness. I don't know what side of the fence I sit on anymore. Watching the game yesterday, in one sense, I'm like, how can we let that guy go? He's just bagged 4 goals. I know it's only against Shakhtar, but it just goes to show you how reliant we are. Then Scarlett comes on, with 10 minutes to go and puts an absolute cracker in. I was thinking, well, maybe, someone like him could stand in for him. Or is Levy just playing real bad? Or is Levy really sticking to his guns, saying either you give it or I let him go on a free next season? Because if he's categorically said to Levy, I'm not signing a contract no matter what, doesn't matter if we're first place by fucking January or whatever, doesn't matter, I'm not signing it, then it's a risky thing to hold Bayern to ransom for another 6 days to say you either give me the money or you're staying. because he goes on a free, then there's going to be a lot of uproar thing with fans. I think. I don't know anymore.
Lee, a couple of things from the Spurs Express regarding Harry Kane. This is Matt Law. Harry Kane is adamant he will not leave Tottenham once the Premier League season starts, and has set a deadline at the end of the week for any moves to be agreed. So he's actually said that.
It's
and
fine.
Also
and as
another
I said,
break,
Iggy,
another breaking from Spurs Extra. It says that Tottenham Hotspur are now in talks with Gen over Gift Orban and are willing to offer 30 million euros. The striker has been validated by Ange Postecoglou.
He's a good player, Gift, man.
Couple of bit of news there, mate.
He's another one who's young, though. He's another one who's young.
So if we are signing him and we've got this other striker as well, maybe it is a case of Levy is literally just holding Bayern to ransom for saying,
for the 100 million.
You want him. You want him. You got 5 days. Here
number.
It is. There's the money. You ask for it. You give it to us, and you can have him. Simple as that.
Part of me though thinks that possibly Postecoglou has said, look, you get in these players because I want these players, regardless of what happens to the transfers or ins and outs. And he's alluded to that in the press conference as well. So it could be that we're going in for these players just to build the squad that Postecoglou wants, regardless of whether the Kane leaves or not, or who goes out. And let's be honest, I don't think Richarlison is up to much, and possibly Ange can see that.
Well, I hope he can. Otherwise, he's blind.
The problem Ange has got is twofold. One, he's got a lot of players at the club which are very expensive, that the club might be urging him, look, please try and make it work with them. And he's saying, look, you've messed up. I can't make it work with them. You've completely cocked up and you're asking me to fix it. Some of these things are unfixable. And the other issue he's got is, and someone's mentioned it, and rightly so in the comments, Pochettino, when he came in and did his build, Paul Mitchell was fantastic. We still don't have anyone there. Like, we don't know if it's Levy. We don't know if it's Paratici. We don't know if it's Donna Cullen. We don't know if there's a scout who's doing the work. Like, literally, is it Postecoglou?
There is no one.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, we don't know.
Well, we can ask her, Donna. Donna, are you doing the transfers or is it Daniel?
Yeah, let us know.
Let us know. Thanks, mate. Still ain't got me mug.
Donna, if you want Lee to get a mug, you must tell us who's behind it.
Yeah, you've got to give us the inside scoop.
The way I see it...
Someone just made a comment, and they're absolutely spot on, that said that we should be getting in. We should have already have got Kane's replacement in already, right? And we shouldn't be leaving it until the point Kane's leaving to get someone else new in. And if they're a younger player, then it should be an understudy. But then, I mean, that's what Scarlett is, right? That's where he should be. He should be Kane's understudy. We should be giving him time. We shouldn't be just letting him rot away in other teams or on the bench or something like that. You've got to give him
and this is where I
playing
think
time.
This is where I think Ange has probably set out his targets, and he says, look, go and get me these players, regardless of what is happening in the ins and outs, because this is what needs to happen. This is the succession plan that needs to happen for the good of the team, to refresh the team how I like. I like to hope that is the case anyway.
But look, guys, for me,
She's replied.
Donna Cullen, thank you. She says, I do transfers for Spurs ladies. Men's are with Daniel. There you go.
There you go. You got the answer there. But look, guys, to me, the Bayern Munich are playing the German Super Cup this Saturday night against
This weekend,
RB Leipzig. That's Saturday. So for me, the third bid has been rejected. So there's going to be a fourth one coming in between the Barcelona game and probably Friday. Those are the 2-3 days that they're going to have to do it in. And for me, unless they meet Daniel Levy's price, it's not happening. It's as simple as that. It's very clear that Daniel ain't budging. He's set his price, and it's up to Bayern whether they meet it or they don't. But for me, it has to happen before, or it's going to have to happen before Saturday, so they can unveil the player for the Super Cup game against RB Leipzig. I think ideally that's when they want to have him in Germany to show the fans.
But then we've also, Iggy, then on the flip side to that, they want to unveil him But then we don't
Yeah.
get a goodbye for him. There's no goodbye, Harry Kane. It's just that's it.
I think
that
that
is
was
it, mate.
I think that was the goodbye at the weekend, wasn't it?
Then the weekend would have been a goodbye. It's as
That
simple
would
as
have been
that.
a goodbye at the weekend.
There's no,
Still,
there's,
Yeah, but,
listen, man.
but you're supposed to let the fans know so they can say goodbye.
No, well, it's not a romantic
Harry
film
walked.
here, mate.
Harry,
There's
Harry
no
walked around and clapped everyone.
But he does that anyway.
There's not a romantic comedy, man.
Yeah, but he's been our best player in 20 years. He's broken the goal scoring records. He's not just any player saying "see you later." He's gonna have legendary status at the club, isn't he? He's gonna have that status.
Doesn't mean anything to
He
Levy.
will have an opportunity if he were to go away. He will have an opportunity at some point down the line to come back and say, listen. It's just the way it is, man. That's just the transfer. This is the problem that you have when you have a transfer market open whilst league games are going on. You either decide the transfer market should end before the first league. I know Graham brought up the question earlier on in the comments.
It needs to be before the season
it needs
starts,
to end
doesn't it?
the day before the league starts and say, look, if the league starts on the 13th of August, give everyone 2 months and then start the market at the beginning of June, 13th of June, just so we can round it off to exactly
I think the problem with that realistically is different countries, right?
Different
Italy
countries
probably don't start. Spain start at different time.
That's it.
Yeah, so
and
I think
everyone
it's
closes
like
at
just
different
falling
times.
in sync, doesn't it? Yeah. I think. I mean, from my perspective, what I would say, sorry, is that
Sorry, I've got to read this out. At first, I thought Maz was showing solidarity with Levy from his T-shirt, and just clicked. It says Levi.
Levy on the brain.
Oh dear.
Levi's
Gene Company. So go on, crack on. We had to interrupt.
Explain with us.
What was I saying? Look, at the end of the day, like I want Kane to stay, right? I want him to win. I think I said selfishly, I want him to be with us forever. I want him to win everything with us. I want him to finish his career and score the billionth goal with us and kind of like all of that stuff. Realistically, if we are keeping him, and obviously Kane's in the driving seat at the moment, if he's saying, he's almost dictating by saying, if I'm not gone by Brentford, I'm here, right? That means he goes on a free. So you either sell me by Brentford or I'm going on a free. I don't really want to lose him on a free. That's a hell of a lot of money to reinvest into that team if we were ever going to reinvest into this team, right?
I don't think there's any good outcomes from this at all. I don't see, and
hence me saying, Maz, I think I would be comfortable with, if we know he's not going to sign a deal, sell him now and go and buy your these like additional strikers and start with a clean slate with new fresh blood. Let him take this team forward.
But doesn't that just show the stubbornness of Levy in this situation, though? Because the problem with it, the way that I look at it is that I've always said around the £86 million mark, 85, 86, whatever is what I think is a good number. Levy wants £100 million. For me, £86 million for a striker that costs you nothing. You don't.
In 6 months' time, then could go on free.
You know, exactly. So man,
he's just playing poker, isn't he? He's just playing bloody big boys poker.
I don't even think he's. I mean, I know still. You know, like you said, still many times, and I do agree with it. You know, Levy's not going to let an asset of £100 million just walk out the door on the free. However, he's put himself into such a position that his pride is going to get hurt, and his image is going to get hurt, and I almost feel he's willing to guard himself because of that. That's why he may not sell, but and that's why I said there's no good outcomes in this, because if Kane doesn't go by the end of this transfer window, and then we keep him. He bangs in 20 goals, then come January he signs a contract with Chelsea or Paris Saint-Germain or whoever, right? That's even worse for us, because then you're like, the guy's just banged in all these goals, right? And now he's leaving on a free. I just don't see any good outcomes on this at all.
I think see, I agree with Maz. I don't think there's a good outcome here. And if you sell him, you've basically told the world we sell our best players. You tell the rest of the league we sell our best players, and you tell to all the other players at Spurs, once you're a superstar, you're gone. You that's not how you build.
That's
a
always been the case, though,
league.
isn't it? That's
why we
been
win
the
nothing,
case.
JP.
Modric, Bale, all of them.
Precisely
exactly-
why we win nothing. Yeah.
Berbatov.
Yeah. So what you're saying is you're saying to the rest of the world, we don't care about trophies. So that's what happens if you sell him. But on the flip side, if you keep him, you then create this toxicity, which is already creeping in. There's YouTube channels saying we're better off without Kane. If we're going to rebuild, get rid of him. They're already saying get rid of the best player. And then there's fans that will listen to that voice, and then they'll believe it. And then that toxicity grows. And as the season goes on and he doesn't sign a new contract, suddenly people who worship Kane begin to turn on him. And at the end of the season, if he goes to Chelsea or Arsenal or any of these clubs, then it's carnage. And that could have all been avoided if you sell him now. So you can't, there's no win situation. I totally agree with Maz. Levy has put us in a situation where there's the only win situation is Harry Kane signs a new contract. So for me, either Kane signs a new contract now, or he has to be sold. I want him to stay because of the talent he is. But if we're going to just watch him, if we're going to have this toxic season with this underlying every press interview, and the closer we get to January, it's going to get toxic.
Absolutely,
It's going to be awful.
But even again, still, like,
there's no
Levy had another chance to start this window by going out and showing him, look, I'm going to go and buy Tapsoba, I'm going to go and buy Van der Veen straight away, bring these people in. Look, we do mean business.
And that's
Has
the
he done
problem,
any of that?
JP, though. He's never done that.
He hasn't done any of that.
All the big clubs, when they bring in their superstars, they want to keep their superstars, they'll say, I don't know, Ronaldo, stay because we're going to buy this player and we're going to bring this player and we're going to do that. Levy has never done that. And that's why we consistently lose the trust of the big...
We're going to sign Vicario.
Yeah,
we're going to sign...
exactly. And we're in this no-win situation now where come the end of this transfer window, if he's not gone, there's no way that he's going to persuade Kane to sign a new contract.
It's deluded, man. It's deluded to think.
Yeah, and this narrative that if Kane doesn't get sold in this window, he's staying. You've already seen it on the YouTube channels. Oh, Kane is staying. No, he's staying until January, mate, when he signs for, I don't know, Chelsea or fucking Bayern.
And that's what I don't want.
Jay, listen, and you all know, if on the 1st of September transfer window shuts, Kane is staying with no new contract, so he's going on a free. Yeah. You know, from that moment onwards, every agent, chairman, behind the scenes, private meetings are going to start tapping him up. They're all going to be on the case.
Text messages, WhatsApps, all the time, isn't it?
You're going to wake up mid-September, breaking news. Sun newspaper's got the scoop. Mystery agent, super agent from PSG meets with Kane. See a picture of Kane walking into Costa Coffee in Soho.
And when we play Chelsea still, what they're going to ask? What they're going to ask Pochettino about Harry Kane?
Exactly.
There you go.
Exactly. And
it'd be everyone, wouldn't it? Liverpool, when we play Liverpool, when we play Man United, when we play.
But imagine you're one of the biggest clubs in the world. You're in the top 10 clubs in the world, and you know one of the most elite strikers is available on a free. You would chuck everything you've got at it. Why would you not?
That's the risk of buying, though, isn't it? That's their risk that they've always had for not paying what Levy wanted. If they don't get him because Levy's being stubborn and they don't want to pay £100 million, anyone can have him. So they're almost going into random pot and hoping that they come out on top. But this is my. I'm gonna take a stance, and this is going to be my stance.
Go on, my son.
People
Go
have
on.
said in the comments. Some people said in the comments there's certain tweets that are coming out that, in actual fact, Kane could be open to a new contract to see how things goes. That's not what we've been told. We've been told that Harry Kane has said, I am not signing a new contract. If that is a 100% no, I'm not signing a new contract, he's got to be sold now. We've got to sell the money now. We've got to get a replacement, and we've got to bed them into the team. If the conversation isn't that, I mean, we weren't in the room on the conversation. If the conversation is, I'm not wanting to sign a contract now, we'll see how it goes, then I can see why Levy will want to take a risk. Right? But that's it. But if the conversation is purely, no, not signing a contract, I'm leaving on a free next year unless you get a bid in for me that suits you, then he's got to go now. And if that means Levy has to take 90 million instead of 100 million pounds, I think that makes more sense. Unless something has come out to say, or the conversation actually went, I don't want to do it now. We'll see how things goes, and there's a slight glimmer that he could sign a contract, after Christmas or something like that, because he wants to see how things goes. Then maybe the risk is there to keep him, but then that's all down to how the team performs, right? If we're doing shit, we've lost
And
out.
even that,
it's
even that
50-50.
even that Levy's not doing his damnedest to make sure it doesn't turn out shit, is he?
Who thinks this is realistic?
It's an
Kane stays
unfair
for another year.
expectation on Ange, though, isn't it? Like, what be expecting Ange to come and do? Come in,
Levy
smash it up,
makes
get
some good
second or
signings.
third, and win FA Cup and League Cup. I mean, what's going to make Kane
All right.
stay?
What will Spurs have to achieve this season coming up for Kane to put pen to paper? What will we realistically have to achieve? I don't think top 4 is enough. I don't think
Cups.
that's
We need to win 2
Both
FA Cup
cups.
or a League Cup.
Yeah, both cups.
So if we win the FA, if we come 6th or 7th, but we win the Carabao Cup, Kane will say, "Yeah,
both cups." I said both cups.
We're not winning both cups, though, are we?
Yeah, but
we can't even win one.
And this is the big grey area there, right? Let's say we win the FA Cup, right? Kane might think, but hold on a minute, I won a league, and I'm not going to win a league at Spurs. Because he's looking at, let's say, Shearer as an example. He's won the Premier League. I haven't.
Well, I think half of the England squad have won a league title. The Man City players, Jamie Vardy. I'm sure.
His peers will turn around to him and say, "Yeah, that's only the FA Cup, bruv. You need to win the league."
Is that all you've got?
Speak, yeah.
People, there's 360 of you watching live. Thank you, each and every one of you. Please just take 10 seconds and touch the like button. I'm going to give you 10 seconds. All you got to do, get your phone, go to the thumb and just give it a little tap.
Click it. Click it.
Appreciate your support and love. All right, let's just do a quick round and just make a decision. What you think will happen with Kane this window, and it doesn't have to be by this weekend, because the way everything keeps contradicting, this could go to the last minute, and I wouldn't be surprised if it did. So let's go around quickly. Lee, based on where we're at now, which constantly changes every week, what's going to happen by the end of the window with Kane?
I think if Bayern make that 4th bid, and it's what Levy wants, I think he's gone.
Okay, so if it's another bid, he's gone. Maz?
Same
as Lee. JP?
I can see this carrying on till the last frigging week of the season or something,
Toxic massive.
And it'll carry on. And if Bayern, for them to play silly buggers again, they gave Levy this ultimatum or this deadline or whatever it was of Monday.
JP, can I ask you a question? Because we've never fell out, right? We're going to fall out now.
Good.
If you're saying this is going to go on to the end of the transfer window, And this is
Yep.
one thing that I've never questioned Harry Kane's professionalism or all of this, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you're saying it's going to go on to the end of the window, then you'll basically, what you're saying is what Kane has said is a complete and utter lies. And
Not
he is going to go,
necessarily.
even though he said if he's plays
Not
by Brentford.
not necessarily. Kane can come out and say, "I would like my future decided by the end of this weekend," right?
No,
That's
but no,
fine
he
for Kane
said
to come
if
out and
I'm
say.
playing at the Brentford game, I'm not leaving Spurs. It's as simple as that. So
Did he
even if
say that,
Levy
or
accepts
did
the
the
bid,
journalist say that and we've gone
If-
with it?
well, that's what I've been led to
Yeah,
believe that he
yeah,
said
so
it.
Okay.
But if Bayern come in and go, here's £105 million, it's
But
up
then
to
he doesn't
Levy,
have
right?
to go. He doesn't have
It's
to
up
go.
to
No,
Levy.
it's not. It's up to Kane. He doesn't have to sell him. He doesn't have to move.
It's true. Kane has
mean,
to agree to the transfer.
He has to agree
yeah.
to it. And if he sticks to
But
his
then-
morals and he says, "No, this is what I said," then so it's got to be. This is why
Yeah,
I'm saying it's
but
got to be done by Friday.
I totally
be
hear
done
what
by
you're
Friday,
saying,
mate.
but I still think that Levy will get his way. Even if it's Harry, look, I know you said Friday, blah blah blah, but do you know what? It's for the greater good, and you'll be doing Spurs a favour. Look at the amount of money we're giving us. You'll be leaving us in a good. He'll play all the violins and stuff like that, and I just see it dragging on. Personally,
I
would
think.
like.
Do you know
I would
what?
like to get the money for him.
One
If
of
he's
the
not
other
going to
things.
sign.
Sorry, one of the other things I think that the reason why there's a deadline of the Brentford game, I think it's not just as to do with the game itself as much it is to do with his wife giving birth, because she's due week after, about 4 days after the Brentford game apparently, and that is going to be then. Once that's happened, he's not going to be travelling and sticking in Bayern, in Germany, while his wife's, sitting in hospital having a baby. I don't think that's happening. He'll miss that game. So that maybe that's part of it as well. Maybe that's why he's given the deadline.
Yeah, I guess
JP,
I would say
let's say what you said. It goes to the end of the window. Is he going to stay or is he going to go?
he's going to go.
He's going to go. Iggy, he's on a break. I've said all along we're not going to watch Mega Money go out the window. So for me, he's gone. I just don't see how this works out any other way. But do you know what? One person made a good comment actually. They said that if he does win a trophy, that's even more reason for him to go, because if we win a trophy, then
he's done it now. Yeah, I was going to say
my job is done. See you later.
Yeah.
So
You
here
want
you
a
go.
league.
Here,
You want more.
here you go,
want a league.
Spurs. I've won you the FA Cup.
So it's
kind of
a
like
double
Declan Rice.
whammy.
It's like a Declan Rice thing, isn't it? Hey, look, won you a cup. I'm off now.
It's Declan Rice Part 2, but worse.
Except Kane will go on a free.
You watch the Bayern. The Bayern will come back with another bid, but it'll be like £89 million.
99.
86.
99.
Yeah. And it'll just
99 league.
This is going to go on in increments of $1 million every 3 days for the next 2 weeks. We'll get there eventually.
Just something quickly funny to break up the show. This popped up on my. There's a vacancy at Spurs for a player care manager. I don't know what a player care manager is, but it says medical assistant related experience needed. So if anyone's looking for work,
no, 0 months. 0 months of medical assistance.
Oh, excellent.
0 medical.
Just
Okay.
have to dream
that's
it. Dream of it.
I can do plasters. I mean,
that's an important role Spurs are looking
I have
for.
to look for that job.
Do you know, this Arsenal fan this morning I was doing the show was saying to me, Arteta's won 3 trophies in 4 years, which is more than Spurs in 20 years. And I said, what trophies have you won? He goes, we've won 2 Community Shields. I said, stop there. Stop there. The Community Shield is not a major honour. It's a charity cup. Charity. Just like Spurs playing Shakhtar Donetsk on the same day, it was for charity. And to play in the Charity Shield, you either have to win the Premier League or the FA Cup. You won neither. You're there by default, man. And you're trying to give it.
It was there as a guest.
Yeah. So all those Arsenal fans that were trying it this morning, I just want to show you this. Only
there as a
once
plus
in the
one.
last 11 seasons has a team who won the Charity Shield gone on to win the league title. So all you Arsenal fans are saying we got one over Pep, it's a psychological victory. The 2 years before, Man City never won the Community Shield. They won the league and then the treble. Do you think they're phased? Do you
Didn't they
think
win
they're
on
phased?
penalties as well? Not like they
Yeah.
beat City, is it?
Difficult battle still.
It's all right.
And
They
here's
can
the
they
funny-
can serve their breakfast on it tomorrow morning.
Mate, do you know what's funny? Do you know what's funny? If you go back 10, 15 years, if it was a draw, you share the Community Shield.
Share it,
So-
innit? Yeah, yeah.
You
half a
should
cup
share
each,
it.
half a plate each.
Mate, we've won the Tiger Cup.
Yeah.
Listen, if that was for charity, it would be on a par with the Community Shield. I just find it funny, right? If you're an Arsenal fan and you're going to give it to Spurs fans, give it over something that's actually worth, like, we beat you in the North London derby, or we're back in the Champions League, you're out of Europe. Okay, I get it. We can't argue that. When you're going to say to me, we've won 3 trophies under Arteta, it's just desperate, man. Desperate to justify the £700 million you've spent under him. If
How
you win the
much?
league this year, spent almost 700 million, Iggy.
Fucking Jesus.
They spent over
funny.
600 mil, Arsenal. And they're still,
In how long?
if they
In
buy
3
Raya,
seasons.
they buy-
In 3 seasons.
since January
4,
20,
innit?
January 2020. So 3.5 seasons.
Fair play to the owners, man. Fair play to them, because they used to get a lot of stick, Honky, and that lot, and not anymore, man. Now
Yeah, but
this
then we
year,
count up.
this
then we
year
count
they're
up
on the.
Iggy. We-
This
we
year he needs
spent
to
like
deliver.
500.
Look at Zapaguna.
We
So you're
spent
saying
like
it's
500,
possible.
didn't we?
That's good humour.
He needs to deliver though this year. That's a lot of money, and these owners are going to want something back for it.
So I said to my Arsenal friends, I said, must Arteta win silverware this year to keep his job? And my Arsenal friends said no. And I said, how is your answer no? If that was Spurs, you would
No.
rip us to pieces. And they said to me, this was their answer, because when he came, it was a 5-year project. This is only year 4. So he gets a buy this year as well. Wow.
No. For me, he needs
Wow.
to deliver. I don't know what, if it's the Premier League, a FA Cup, whatever. He needs to
Champions
deliver
League.
a trophy. I think that's a fair demand. I don't think Premier League's. Listen, it's tough because you got some real competitors there, man. But they've got to at least be challenging, which I'm sure they will. And I think they need to deliver some silverware, because that's a lot of money being spent. And I think the manager needs to deliver, because he's now. I saw them on. I saw the Man City game. There's 2 quality sides out there, guys. 2 quality. I think Arsenal with a better striker, which I've always said it. How long ago did I say it? The lack of number 9. The 2 chances, big chances, fell to what's his name, Havertz, and he didn't finish. And that's the problem with a proper finish. You know, and they had a big one with
I could have
Foden.
told them that when they spent that money.
But 65 million on someone that's meant to be putting a ball in the back of the net. But then they're saying,
Then you
well,
get-
Havertz isn't that player. Then why did you go and buy him and not a
Iggy.
striker?
They haven't got the pigeon though, mate. That's what they're missing.
I just think there's so many good quality strikers out there that they could have got with 65 million quid, and that for me will be the difference. Unless they go out and buy one before the end of the transfer market. But listen, having said that, I saw 2 quality sides, man, out there, and they will both be in the running for the league this year. I'm convinced of it.
Mate,
I
and
don't
City
know-
just went and bought Guardiola.
Incredible, yeah. I don't know if you've seen many preseason games of Chelsea, but I tell you now, I think Poch is going to stun everyone in the first season.
They're
And
going
the
to be a
players
lot
they're
fitter.
signing, Chelsea have done 2 things we haven't. One, they've got rid of a whole ton of deadwood. They've literally cleared it out. And
Yeah,
the
but that's a bit
players
dodgy
they've
because
brought
they got rid of half of them to bloody
Saudi
who is
Arabia.
it? Saudi
They have
Arabia.
a market. We can't even get. We can't even get. them
No
into,
one wants our
I don't
players.
think no one wants that. Not even that.
JP,
cheap.
do you care where Dyer, Sanchez,
I agree,
Davies go?
I agree, Marcus,
couldn't
by the
care
way.
less. Go to the
I
Isle of
agree.
Wight.
Yeah,
Go to Jersey. Go to the
I couldn't
Shetlands. I
care
don't
less.
care. Go.
If what Marcus is saying, if Arsenal had Kane last season, they would have won the league. Because you were 10 points
Yeah.
clear with Kane, you would have gone and won it.
If
No
Arsenal had-
hesitation in my mind.
If they
Good
had a
player,
proper
Timber,
number
by the
9,
way.
if they had a proper
Good
number
player.
9, they would have won the league last year, I think.
Yeah, I agree
Better
totally.
number
So
Indeed.
for me, details is what makes all the difference.
All right, they've got Kai Havertz now. Job done. Kai Havertz, magic.
But you're right,
Really
Pochettino. They're going to be a different kind of animal. You're going to be a super fit Chelsea. They're going to win loads of games in the last 15,
the
20
players
minutes.
they've signed as well under
And
Poch
they've got
are
good
good.
quality players. Although Nkunku is out for 2 months, that's a big loss for them.
Oh, really? Yeah, that is a loss.
Yeah,
I
I just got the news.
I wonder how
It
the
came up on
fan
my
base
phone
is
2
going to
months
take
out.
Poch winning a few cups with Chelsea and challenging for the title.
Oh,
That's
well,
what it's there for, man.
you're gonna have half the fans that are gonna say Judas, traitor, scum. You're gonna have the other fans saying, "Look what happens when you back a manager. Look what happens when you actually, help the guy."
I won't be
So
if
Pick up
it'll be
the
split.
phone and speak to him.
if I'm at the
what
stadium
happens?
for the Spurs Chelsea
Yeah.
game, I won't cheer for him, but I'm certainly not going to boo him. That I'm going to be indifferent. If I'm there, obviously, that's how I will treat Pochettino's return at White Hart Lane. There won't be any boos because I totally understand it. I understand him being there. I understand he didn't get the call at Spurs. I understand the whole lot. So there won't be any boos for me, but there ain't going to be no clap, clap, clap reception on the way in either. So it's just going to be nothing. Then beyond the game, I've got no problem whatsoever with Pochettino.
Talking about Pochettino working with youngsters, there is something I do want to bring up, and this is Dane Scarlett, in or out. Now, the reason I say this is because, chaps, he shone in the few minutes he was on the pitch. He looks much bulkier. He looks more like a Premier League
Beefed
player
up,
now.
innit?
Yeah, I thought
Yeah,
that.
big time. Big time he's beefed up. And that kind of happened out of nowhere. He looks like a potential talent. And I want to be very careful with this because I hate when we blow up players to be something amazing and just because they do one or two good things. But as it stands now, we've got Harry Kane at the club. He'll always be the starting striker under any manager. Then you've got Richie, who you think will be the number 2 if Kane's injured or you want to mix it up. We've just signed that kid from Argentina, Alejo. So that's 3. And you've got Dane Scarlett. Where does Dane Scarlett get any minutes or any game time? So I want to ask you guys a question. Do we keep Dane Scarlett or does he go out on loan again? But if we sell Kane, do you bring in Dane Scarlett or do you go and buy another striker to cover Kane? But then Scarlett will then be, still number 4. So what do we do about Dane Scarlett, guys? Because I was told when Conte was manager, he doesn't like academy players. He doesn't work well with them. He doesn't develop youth. The next manager's got to embrace it. Postecoglou's here. You're seeing youngsters playing a bit. Alfie Devine got a bit of a chance. Pape Sarr's playing a bit more. Scarlett got some minutes. But if he's truly going to develop them, they need to play in the team. So what do we do? Iggy, I'll let you come because you took a 15-minute break, so you're energized.
My mum just called from Italy. I had to answer. I can't.
Oh, that old
press
chestnut.
no on it.
That's it. Blame the family. Yeah, blame the family.
Okay. Do you know what? Just to
Be
shut
honest.
you
Be
up.
honest. You went for number 2, innit? You went for number 2.
No. What's that top one there? Look, Mum. What's that video? There you go.
Scott. No, it says Scott Munn. Scott Munn.
Yeah, all right, Scott Mum. This is a difficult one because I think that experience at Portsmouth done him a world of good. I really do think he's come back a different animal, more confidence in him. And I remember Harry Kane having a similar sort of journey where he went out on loan to go. Probably didn't hit the ground running until afterwards, but the loan experiences make you as a player as well. So I believe the experience of going out on loan will do him a world of good. I do believe, though, and I agree with Alex in the comments, said that he should go out on loan to a Premier League club. Not because I don't think Postecoglou won, because I said it earlier on. I think the young kids should stay in and embed this, working with Postecoglou. I just think right now Postecoglou probably has a bit too much on his plate right now. So I think maybe when I'm thinking about it, might be an idea for him to just have another season, but put a Premier League team like sort of mid to low,
What, a bit like
low
Spurs?
level, yeah. Well, below where he's guaranteed to play a lot more football. Get that experience under his belt where he plays against Premier League teams, and then next season when Postecoglou would have had a season now with Tottenham, then he can really get Postecoglou then can really start working with Scarlett himself, then embed him in the way that he wants him to play. But you're right though. If Kane does leave, you've still got Richarlison. You've got Alejo Veliz coming through, coming into the club. They are definitely going to be there regardless of whatever happens. So being even on par with Veliz, still not going to guarantee him enough game time. So for me, at the 2, he should probably go out alone.
So Iggy, if you're going to loan him out, the question then lies: what is the point of the academy, and why am I being told managers let the academy down? Because at the end of the day,
why did we go and get Veliz then? Why did we go and get Veliz? What's the point of that?
That was going to be my question.
JP, let's come to you then. What's the point of the academy? Because for me, Harry Kane, who we've spent half an hour talking about, would never be who he is if he never got that chance from Sherwood and Poch. He would never ever be who he is unless he got those minutes. So where are we going with this? What is the point of Scarlett, Parrott? What is the point of any academy player? Again, not just him. We've got Dorrington and Charlie Sawyers, 2 centre backs. We've got to sign Ashley Phillips.
Yeah.
What is the point of the Spurs academy? We're going to keep buying players that play in the positions, not just any players, young players. We're playing youth players instead of bringing through our academy youth. What is the point of Scarlett?
And that's what I don't get about going and getting this. Was it Alez? Right?
Alejo Veliz.
Veliz.
Yeah.
Like
Alejo.
personally, I'd rather allow. Personally, I'd rather have.
That's how you pronounce it, right? Alejo.
I'd rather give Dane Scarlett a go. I have nothing against this young kid. I don't know what he's about. But I think when who did we have a chat with? Probably at a weekend with someone, and they were saying he's not a bad young player, but he's not kind of like shit hot or anything like that. So personally, I don't see the difference between him and Dane.
No, I'll tell you what the difference is. I will tell you straight away what the difference is, real quick. Argentinian Premier League. They play the youngsters early, man. They release. Yep. They all their investment is on academies. All the investment is on young talent, getting them playing from the age of 16, 17, 18, and by the time they're 20, 21, they're hitting Europe, mate. Because that is the ultimate goal: is to get a rich European club in any of the top 5 leagues to go and get those players, and they put money in there. Look at, we just paid 15 million euros for this kid from Rosario Central, which is probably like a mid to low, a low of that league. They're not playing for Boca Juniors or River Plate. Rosario Central, and he's now coming into Europe. That aim for that league or for that club has served its purpose. They got him out of there.
Yeah,
got good money for him.
As fabulous that
we
is
don't
for
do that in Premier
them.
League. We can't do that because we are with the pressure to deliver results.
No, I get that. But what I'm saying is, as fabulous as that is for them, to us and kind of like for Spurs, if we go and spend 15 million euros on him, and we've got Dane Scarlett here, who we're talking about reloaning him out again, what's the point of going and getting this kid?
Well, I think there's one factor you guys haven't taken into consideration.
Personally, sorry, Maz, crap. But kind of like, personally, I would keep him and allow him to be around that team and play in the FA Cup games and things like that. Sorry, Maz, go on.
I was going to say that the one thing that pops in my head, the reason why we've gone and got that Argentinian young chap, and the reason to keep Dane Scarlett is Richarlison's constantly injured. The guy's constantly injured. So if I'm with Stel, I think we should keep Dane Scarlett. I think we should give him the opportunities when they arise. There may be some opportunities to play in the League Cup or FA Cup, depending on the opposition. Right, keeping around the quality players, like if Kane does stay, let's say, or but keeping around Son, and Madison and Kulusevski, getting part of that group and bring him through, and we should do that.
Sorry, Maz, very quickly, guys. If you're going to give people jip, you're out. I'm not saying it again. Carry on. people need to just realise this is a fan channel. We talk football. That's it.
Yeah.
It's like that everything in your life is just dumped on YouTube. Like your whole bad day, just dump it on YouTube. So yeah, go on.
And I think the thing is as well is 19 is going to be 20 this is it this year or next year? I think he's at the age now where you can bring him into a few games and let him show us what he's got.
Okay, are we not in a situation where, right, we need to decide what we want? Do we want to get into the Champions League this season, win an FA Cup potentially, or do we just want to build a team, develop a way, develop a togetherness, and then take it into years 2 and 3 of the project? Because if we're going to give Dane Scarlett minutes in let's say round 1 of the FA Cup, we get Liverpool. Scarlett ain't playing. Let's say round 1 we get Brighton. He's not going to play. So really, it's not even play him in a cup game. It's play him if the opposition is great and we can do it. So this is why I say, if we're going to do a rebuild project, then we should do exactly what you said. Play him in the cup games. Play him and do it. Take the hits now. If we lose the game, it's not the end of the world because we're in that rebuild.
I don't agree. Sorry, let me clarify. I
No,
agree with you.
I'm asking which one we should do because I don't think we can do both at the same time without problems, without Scarlett being made a scapegoat. Oh, he's rubbish. He cost us the FA Cup.
No,
that's down to the intelligence that's down to the intelligence and the risk management of what Ange does, right? He bring him, sub him in when the team is doing well, and build the young lad's confidence up that way. Don't bring him in if the team is getting absolutely hammered 5-0 as a way of trying to, rest the player or trying to get him to do something special. But I think that we should be blooding in some of the youngsters at the prime age, regardless of whether it's a project or not. Why do we need to have a 3 or 4 or 5 year project with one individual manager that might not last 18 months or a year? We should be looking at our young players and bringing them through if they're good enough. Otherwise, if we're going to do that, then maybe we should have loaned Skippy out for longer.
Yeah, but then if we don't keep this manager for 3-4 years, then we're just repeating every mistake we've made in the past 10 years. No.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean we discard the players, though, right? That doesn't mean that just get perpetually sent out on loan until we get one manager who wants to try them.
Yeah, but how do you maintain motivation at a club when the manager changes every 18 months? This is why Kane wants to go. This is why our best player wants to go. So how do you then convince Romero to stay? How do you convince Son to stay? How do you convince?
I don't think the two things are. I don't think they're the same points, though, right? One you're saying, how do you mitigate leaviness, right? And on the other side, I'm saying we should have a little bit more faith in our younger players when they get to that age of 19, 20, 21 to give them a go, because they may turn out to be a brilliant player. Because one of the criticisms that we had is we don't ever give them a chance to prove themselves. I mean, Skip is the only one I can remember of recent times.
Yeah, but Conte done that too. Conte and Mourinho got the blame for this. So now Postecoglou's here, and therefore, are we going to blame Levy or Postecoglou if the same thing doesn't happen? Because we're looking at Dane Scarlett, someone who scored a really good goal. Okay, it was a moment, but we've signed the Argentinian guy. We've already got Richarlison and Kane. What's the point of why are we signing Beliz? What's the point when we've got Dane Scarlett? This is what I'm trying to get at. What is the point of this?
What's the point of a 35-man squad as well?
I mean, this other fellow from
spending 66 million on Richarlison.
Yeah,
there's a lot of what's the points, right? There's a lot.
God, we're thinking about it from a Spurs point of view as well, but surely he's got to get to a point where he's going to be like, well, I'm lingering here. I'm just lingering around Spurs. Every time I get to, there's a potential. I mean, all this talk of Kane and and seeing what was left behind if Kane was to go, he must have been thinking, yeah, great, fantastic. I might actually get a chance in here.
Here's
But
my
now
chance.
we've just bought another Argentinian guy, supposed to be a wonder kid. All eyes on him. All of a sudden, Scarlett just sort of disappears into the background again. Surely at some point he's going to have to go, is really being at Spurs the best thing for me, or should I ask to go somewhere else?
Great
He's
point.
19 though, to be honest with you. I don't think he needs to make any rash decisions right now as to whether he needs to leave Spurs or not. I think for me personally, if I was in his place, I'd be looking at the situation as is, and he would have had a couple of months with the squad now. Seeing what's happening with Kane, if they bring this guy from Ghent in as a replacement for Kane, which is what we've been linked to at the moment. If that happens, then yes, I would look in, perhaps not leave Spurs, but I'd be like, look, I want to go out again because I thought the Portsmouth experience done me really well. But now I want to play maybe for a team that's playing in a higher division, ideally in the Premier League, to really fair myself out. And then if he succeeds in that season alone in the Premier League, banging a few goals in the process, then he can definitely come back with it. Now he would have had the Portsmouth experience, he would have had the Premier League experience. Now he can really say, right, then I'll go to your point, Lee, and say what you've just said now applicable for next season when he comes back and say, well, I've proven that I can measure myself up against the best team in the Premier League. Now I want to do it here at Spurs. If I'm not then given a chance to give a fair crack at it, and if Richarlison hasn't buggered off by that point, then I really need to look at my situation and say, right, what am I here for? But I think he would have.
Sorry, Iggy, is he only 19?
Yeah, man, he's young.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he was older than that.
I think.
Do you know what? His name's been around
same
so
age.
long that
Yeah,
I
he's
just
been
assumed that he's actually older. Oh, okay,
Mate,
if he's
he
only
was a
19, he's still a
teenager.
youngster then, really, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's still learning his trade.
I think.
I just want
I think the only
to
thing
address
I would
Big
say-
Sam's point. Sorry, JP. Sorry, mate. Sorry.
Go on.
I just want to address Big Sam's point. He says, "Oh, why are we having a go at Richie?" Richie recently played in a friendly with Brazil, and he got booed by his own fans because he was so dog crap. Right, so we're not having a go at him without good reason. He's yet to prove himself at Spurs, and he had one of the worst seasons I've ever seen any new player at Spurs last season. So he needs to prove to us that he's got what it takes. He's 60 million quid, for crying out loud.
To be fair, Maz, Big Sam's got to be in his bonnet. He's just trying to pick on anything. He had a go at Lee earlier. Now he's having a go at this. He also said, how are you complaining about having more attacking options when the actual question was Dane Scarlett in or out because we're worried about game time? So where we're trying to address the game time of a young player, he's converted it into you're complaining about attacking options. So he's just one of those fans that's just angry at everything. Like just anything. Just But yeah, we're not. Listen, I don't know.
Yeah,
Richarlison splits the fan base massively. I think he's rubbish. I'll say it. I've said it. I think he's rubbish. I don't rate him.
Crap.
I don't think he's a talent.
Listen, I'm not.
He might get 10, 15 goals. He might get 10, 15 goals, but is that good enough for Tottenham Hotspur?
I think that's the max he's got in the trophy. That's the max he's got in the Premier League, isn't it? About
is that trophy winning quality? What top 6 club buys Richarlison? Liverpool, Chelsea, United, City, Arsenal. Who buys Richarlison? I don't think any of them.
I think he needs to be given this season now. I do think he needs to be given this season.
Yeah, we'll give him another chance.
Because
everyone gets 10 years at Spurs, right? You got 10 years.
No. Still. You said
another 9.
No, still
another 9 in the bank.
I'm joking. We had a shit
season.
Diamond
and Davies have had 10 years. That's what I'm saying.
With the exception of Kane, everyone was dog shit last season. So
yeah, they were.
I think this season, I'm not talking about the Davies and Dyers here. I'm talking about Richarlison's only been in one season. It was the worst season that we've had in God knows how long. It came in conjunction with the fact that he's been injured for most of it. And this season, we need to see.
What happens, Iggy? What happens though if Kane stays and Richarlison doesn't get the minutes? Then what are we going to say?
Then we need to move him on. I will move him on. But then again, Kane's season, if he stays for another season, he's going to be gone at the end of it. So I don't, unless he puts pen to paper, I don't see.
And then we go into the third season of giving Richarlison a chance.
He needs to first of all be integral in his physical. He needs to be fit first and foremost. He needs to be fit, but then he has to be given the opportunities in the middle. I don't see him playing wide areas. I think it's a waste of time playing him wide. He needs to be given the opportunities through the middle of the playing up front essentially. And if he still doesn't cut the mustard, then you know what, you can cut your ties with him. You know, later on the season. But then that, you know, you would have given a guy 2 seasons, and I think that's fair to say, right, you've had 2 seasons. Like now, you cut your losses. I think there are far more big other players that have been here far too long and haven't proven absolutely anything. To then put it all out on Richarlison right now, given the season that we all had as a club last season, I don't think it's a true testament. Do I think he's you know amazing? No, I don't think he's amazing, but I do believe it needs to be given another crack at the whip at it, in my opinion. But that, you know, that's just my take on it, man, regarding him.
I think we said it earlier on. 10, 15 games will judge it. I think after 10, 15 games, we can begin to see how it's shaping up and begin to make some kind of early judgments on players. Then,
well, I'm a keep Dane Scarlett person.
I want us to keep him, JP. I only want him to stay if he's going to get minutes.
I hear what you're saying about getting some time at another Premier League club. The problem with that is I don't see any Premier League teams doing us any favours like that, right? Even your Lutons and stuff like that, they're all struggling for their lives. It's like they literally want people to get goals, get them points, right? I don't know if he'll get many opportunities at a Premier club, like, if you know what I mean. So kind of championship, I think championship, bang, like definitely get him out there. And if he is going to go on loan, and he's not going to get minutes for us.
JP, what I'm trying to say is by him going out on loan is, for me, I've got no problem with him staying. If we're going to keep the kid, keep him with a plan. If the plan is to play him in certain games, is a plan, as long as there's a plan for Dane Scarlett at Tottenham Hotspur Football Club this season, then I'll say then keep him here. If you're going to keep him for the sake of keeping him, then you're doing a kid the service.
No,
and let him go and play out. Let him go and play his football, because I think with any kid, man, if you want a kid to progress, no matter what training he does with the first team and stuff like that, ultimately what it all comes down to is playing football. The biggest lessons for any young player is being out there playing football. I don't see any other lessons being learned by a young player by sitting on the bench.
I don't disagree with you, but I'm just saying that currently at Spurs, at least there's Defoe there in the coaching setup, right? As opposed to if he goes to like a Luton or if he goes to somewhere else, and for him to just be around there and not actually play is not like really helping him either, is it?
Listen, if Kane stays, I think having Scarlett, I will say, have him involved, because at least he's there. If Kane goes, there's no point having him there with Richarlison, because he ain't going to learn shit.
You know what? I feel like this club just likes to shoot itself in the foot, right? You sign Veliz, right? You sign Veliz, a young striker, wonder kid. So what do you do 2 days later? You play Dane Scarlett in front of the home fans and he scores a banger. What have you just created now? What the situation you've just created?
Another mess.
Tells you a lot about Scarlett's character, though, as well.
I don't think anyone criticizes Scarlett. I think it's just this club doesn't think. We've got this kid at our club who everyone raves about. He scores a banger. Everyone's like, "Oh, Scarlett, yeah, he's one. You know, we got to keep him." But then you've just literally 2 days later spent how much? 15 million on another striker. It's like, where are you going with this?
Someone in the
Where's
chat.
the thinking? Where's the planning? Is this rebuild is distracting?
No. How long have we been talking about planning and the lack of planning? How long in this channel have we been talking about the lack of planning in this club? The bottom line is, and forgive me if I don't remember the name who wrote it down. Someone said Rooney and Owen. Now they were similar ages as Scarlett is now. But Rooney and Owen, I'm not saying Scarlett isn't, by the way, but Rooney and Owen at that age were already exceptional playing first team football. In their respective clubs, and they were on a trajectory of greatness. I'm not saying Scarlett isn't, but for me, when I look at the situation that Tottenham's got currently going on, and the pressure the manager's going to be on delivering, and he's got to assemble the team, get him playing a certain way. Is he going to really have also the time to focus on young strikers if the main striker is still there, or whether he goes? Then I don't know, guys. I just think it's too much too
But we
soon
get
right
so
now.
many injuries, Iggy.
And
Richarlison's
subs.
constantly injured.
Yeah,
I'm willing
but
to
that's what
place a
Veliz
bet
is there
now.
for.
He'll be injured all season.
But Maz, this is what Veliz is for. And if Kane goes, then this guy from Ghent's going to be coming over. If what's been reported is that that's still numerically speaking up front, there's not going to be enough for Scarlett to be involved in the amount of games that we probably should be giving him. And that's what I'm saying. I want the kid to succeed at Spurs first and foremost. But I also look at him thinking, what if I can't get him to play football at Spurs? How can I get this kid to still evolve so one day he can get the time? And I think another season alone isn't the worst thing in the world.
No, you're
So
right.
on the flip side of that, Iggy, are we then ruining Villas by bringing him in and not doing anything?
Mate, we've invested 15 million. I think Stel brought up the post earlier on. I think it's 15 million euros on the kid. You know, it's not
and
100 million, but it's still an investment.
And then he's going to rot in the reserves.
So what we brought him all the way from Argentina for 15 million plus add-ons to what? Do nothing. It's gonna have to have some time, and he's been spoken about really well. Like Leo Messi, man, the greatest player on the planet, has spoken really well.
I hate when anyone praises anyone that we sign because it's like a curse. It's like when Buffon said,
I'm going by what Leo
is going to be
Messi
the next best thing, and then he comes to Spurs, he doesn't even come off his line for crosses into the box.
No, but Leo Messi has said that he sees.
Still, why are you so negative, mate, about our players?
I was happy. I was really happy at the start. So I'm happy with the football, the two-touch football. As the show goes on, I hate this.
But Leo Messi has spoken really well about him, saying he's a really talented young kid. You know, he sees him as the next Suarez. A big call by him, but to say that. But Argentina do have a knack of giving us an array of talent. There's always talent coming out of that country.
If Lo Celso stays at Spurs, sticking to the Argentinian theme, I've really high hopes for him this season. If he plays him in the right position, then he could be sort of under the radar, one of our best players this season, assuming we do well.
Where's that right position, Maz?
Backing up Harry Kane.
Gio?
Yeah.
Oh,
like he
Kane,
plays for Argentina.
Right.
Just behind Messi, right? As an attacking mid.
I said all along, if we play a system that suits his play and we play him as the attacking mid behind the striker, there's a player there, and so many fans shout on him. And I said, what? Because there's one video clip of him running off the pitch with the ball against Everton. You're going to judge him off of that.
And the thing is, as well,
I think Lo Celso's
he's
a good
got a good eye for a pass.
I've always said he's a good player.
That's the only negative. He's injury prone.
I've always questioned his attitude. My question, same as Ndombele, my question has always been on their attitude.
But look at the attitude. But look at the attitude at the club over the last 4 years. It's stunk. The environment. Remember last season I said against Newcastle, I don't want any young player coming on that pitch because this is the worst environment to develop anyone. I think that environment actually damaged some of the senior players as well. Not all of them, because some are just rubbish. But there are some senior players at this club that I think just drowned in this. Like, we all know Romero is better than what we're seeing. We all know Romero is better than what we're seeing. But the environment is just wrong. The defense is structured badly around him. And we're expecting him to carry it.
Still, the difference with Lo Celso, then say, for example, Ndombele, let's just those two players, because they play exactly in the same position, that Lo Celso has come out of the Spurs environment, gone elsewhere in Spain, and actually delivered because the way they play suits him better, and he's actually delivered for that club, which have gone on to do really well that season. Ndombele, you've taken him out of Spurs. He's gone somewhere else. He still hasn't delivered anywhere he's gone. He's succeeded at Napoli winning the league, but not as a protagonist.
But we're talking about Lo Celso. We're talking about Lo Celso.
Yeah, but I was comparing the two. One has gone away from the Spurs environment and actually done well. Argentina were devastated when Lo Celso got injured and didn't make the World Cup squad. They were devastated. Someone mentioned it like Leo Messi spoke really well. Lo Celso has delivered for Argentinian football and for the national team.
Lo Celso has delivered for Argentina. He's delivered
and Ndombele
for
hasn't delivered shit.
Villarreal.
That's what I'm trying to say. That's the difference.
Nor Richarlison. He's delivered shit.
But at Spurs, he's only been there one season.
No, hold on. But you used an example of Lo Celso at other clubs and country. What's Richarlison delivered for country and other clubs? Nothing.
But for club, he's played for Everton. What did he do there?
Villarreal. Oh, the Giants of Villarreal. Ooh.
Yeah, but
I don't understand what Richarlison has got to do with the conversation I brought up with Ndombele. And I'm comparing two players that play in exactly the same position.
Yeah, but you're
bringing Richarlison to the conversation.
But you're picking a player that you don't like, right? I'll use a player that you defend.
I picked a player that plays in exactly the same position. That was my example. Take him out of there. He's gone on loan. The same way than Ndombele, that's where the comparison comes in. The two players playing exactly the same position. For Spurs,
he can't break into the first team. He can't break into the first team.
I don't know if Richarlison's going to succeed at Spurs or not. The signs are certainly not good from what we saw last season. But then you put him in a season where we played our shittest football and with the worst season that I can remember to date. And that's what we got to judge him for. I'm saying he needs to be given a season under Ange Postecoglou in a different style of play and a fresh new ideas that can perhaps either confirm that he's shit or he can come out of it.
The point I was making was, I've always said, if you play Lo Celso exactly how Real Betis played him, because that's where we scouted him from and watched him play. If you replicate Betis for Lo Celso, there's a player there. I've never seen Richie do well anywhere in any system. Never.
I didn't bring Richie. You brought up Richie. I brought up Ndombele because they're playing the same position.
Yeah, but
if you want to move on to the strikers, we can do that. But don't
no.
to the midfielders.
I counted Ndombele with Richie because I think the same applies. Just like you say, doesn't work anywhere, nor does Richie. Yeah, you're prepared to give Richie more of a chance than Ndombele.
Richie's been in one season. Listen, I'm not coming out as a Richie fan.
He's been here one season.
I'm not a fan of any player. I'm only a fan is that all I want to see from a player is to get on the pitch, have the right mentality and attitude, and put their services in the need of the team. If I see that, I'll become a fan of that player, even if he's not my style of player. The fact that he puts the needs of the club ahead of his own, for me, that's already a massive sign. And Tottenham Hotspur players massively need to have players with that attitude. That's not to say that we don't have enough problems in the club. That's a different discussion. But the players this season under this manager need to put the services of the team ahead of themselves. Now, the reason why I said Ndombele and Lo Celso, they're playing exactly the same position. They've been at Spurs for a little while now, and they've both gone out on loan. That's where the similarity.
Iggy, sorry. Shelo Vera, I've accidentally banned you. I'm going to unban you. I hit the wrong button. I'll sort it out now. I'm sorry.
Trigger happy boy, just banning everyone left, right, and centre.
No,
he's not going to be able to hit.
It's Big Sam. Big Sam's causing havoc, and I tried to.
I thought Stelios was going to say, Chelo Vera, I banned you because of Richarlison.
He's all Kane's fault. Listen,
it's all Kane's
guys. I'm really sorry, guys, but listen, good chat, good debate. We need to wrap up the show because we've got a meeting and we're late. So I'll just quickly do a quick round, have your last say, and then we'll wrap it up. Lee, anything last you want to say?
No, not really. I'm just interested to see what happens by the match on Sunday, to be honest with you. Ins and outs.
Big week.
In the last few days. It's going to be, it's going to be big.
Maz, anything you'd like to
No, same as Lee. I'm interested to see what happens,
JP?
In a way, I'm looking forward to tomorrow's game, to be fair, because I want to see how so far, the teams we've played, we've kind of almost had a lot of possession and stuff like that. Barcelona are going to have a lot of possession tomorrow. So I'd like to see how we fare against them. And then bring it on. There's nothing else you could do Sunday, right? The players are the players we got. Line them up. Away you go.
Listen, the Barca game, there's going to be a lot of eyes on that Barca game because that's the one we actually all look at as a proper test.
It's a test.
So
No, it's a test
yeah.
game, isn't it?
Well, it's interesting to see how we're going to play against a team that is going to be an attacking team, right? It's interesting to see how our counter-attacking
And have
thing is
the
going to
ball
work
and-
because,
Yeah.
I think that's going to be much
And
more
the
interesting than most
inverted fullbacks.
Iggy, final words.
Listen, I hope we don't make too many changes, although I understand if we do, because we've only had, like I said, we played 90 minutes yesterday. I hope, like I said, we play as much as the first team as possible. That gives us what you guys have been saying, gives us a better idea leading up to the Sunday's game. Obviously, the Bundesliga Super Cups on the German Super Cups on a Saturday, so the next 3 games, with the exclusion of the game that's been played tomorrow, will be massive. I don't know. We're doing a watch along as well tomorrow, guys. Check out the Good Morning Tottenham Away videos in the morning as well. And just don't forget, guys, we haven't said it enough during the stream. Smash that like to the stream, subscribe to the channel, and that's it. And I hope you guys start to enjoy it. I mean, we've got some big things coming up during the season, and we're going to have a lot of content coming your way. So make sure you activate the notification bell so you guys can get all the latest videos and stream uploaded to your devices. So your support means a great. It's always gratefully appreciated.
Thank you
for watching and
Donna
coming
Cullen.
along the journey.
Yeah. Thank you to all. Donna Cullen, another super chat. Bye to all the handsome in the stream. Love you all. Love you too. In fact, Donna Cullen, thank you for all your super chats. To be honest, you put in a ton today. So
I
much.
never thought I'd end up liking Donna Cullen, but
Donna Cullen's our best fan. Thunderdog, thank you for becoming a channel member. Everyone in the comments today, thank you all. Appreciate you being in the comments. Also,
big up to all the by the way, Sel, big up to all the non-Spurs fans though in the chat that support us too. It's not just Spurs fans though on it. We got so many fans,
Chelsea
even
fans,
Arsenal,
West
so
Ham fans.
big up to you all, man. Your support is gratefully appreciated as well.
Just want to let you know, tomorrow morning I'll be live about 9:30, 9:45. I'm actually going to do a video on, is it worth us having an academy? I'm actually going to break it down. I've decided. I was thinking about it as I brought it up. So check that out tomorrow. I'm going to do an academy video. And tomorrow night, 6:30 p.m, we're live. Spurs v Barcelona in Spain. Come and watch the watch along and post match show. That should be a good one as always.
Still, I've got a request, a quick one.
Go for
it. Can you do an hour-long video on Richarlison, please?
It's not going to be very informative. It's just going to be him slagging him off.
There's about 2 minutes of stats, so I don't know what I'm going to do for the other 58.
His technique for goal scoring.
If Kane leaves or if we sign another striker, I'll do a comparison and just try and break it. I'll do something then. If we sign another one,
we'll talk about all our forwards. Maybe do a forwards show.
I'll talk about a forward show. I'll do a forwards one. All right, guys, we're out of here. Sorry we got a rush, but we do have somewhere to be. Big up to all of you.
Ciao.
Wish you all the best. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. See you tomorrow, guys.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.